Hey everybody, it's Ryan from MyAfterSchoolToys.com with this week's toy review. And if you're a true fan of 80s toys, you already know what's sitting here in front of you. The 1987 Tonka Supernaturals. Now, Supernaturals were basically a line of toys that you had your forces of good and your forces of evil, and they kind of battle each other in the underworld. But what was unique about them was they were hologram based. And as we know from 80s toys, holograms and neon and glow-in-the-dark, those are all kind of staples in toys. From the 80s. So what we're going to do today is just look at some of these figures and talk a little bit about them. Now you had your main figures in the back you see here, and then you had ghostlings. And we're going to look at the ghostlings first. I got a handy dandy flashlight here that's going to hopefully help me get these holograms visible for you guys here. Now, this hologram right here is called Mr. Lucky. There we go. Mr. Lucky is a kind of a rabbit magician. If you turn him one way, it was a magician, and if you turn him the other way, it was a rabbit, and he had the magician coming out of his hat. So kind of a little cool feature there. Like that. And then what's cool about these ghostlings is they actually slid out like this out of their robe, and then you could place another ghostling in the robe if you wanted to, a different one. And then they had arms that moved up and down, and of course a glow-in-the-dark sword. There you go. Now is Mr. Lucky. Put him to the side here. We have another ghostling here, and this is Rags. Let's see if we can get him visible here. Now Rags was a mummy. He kind of had a Egyptian headdress here, and I apologize if these aren't showing up really well. And then he would turn into a mummy. So from Egyptian to mummy. Like that. Very cool. There we go. There's a good shot of him. So that's Mr. Rags. And then I have two different color Vampas here. I have a purple one and a yellow one. You can see that they're clear. They're see-through. And basically what Vampa was a bat. Let's see if I can get him into the hologram here. He was a bat vampire. It's a little harder to show up. Let's try the other one here and see. It's the thing about holograms, you have to have them just right. Okay, so there you go. Vampire bat, and then he turned into a creepy old man with a, looks like a spider on a leash. There you go. And that was Vampa. Okay, so those were the ghostlings. And then you had the bigger action figures here. You had your forces of good, your forces of evil. So we're going to start off with the forces of good here. And this is Thunderbolt. Now, what's cool about Thunderbolt is he is basically Thor. He came with a hammer. He's got the gold locks. He even had a winged helmet. And let's see if we can get his face here. He's just got a normal face. Really hard to see at this angle here. And then his chest piece would come off, and you can see, let's see here, there you go, you can see his muscles, and then you can see his chest would turn to lightning. So there was Thunderbolt. That was his special power there. And then of course he had a glow-in-the-dark hammer, Mjolnir if you want, and that's Thunderbolt. And then we had a Native American supernatural here called Eagle Eye. His hologram is not the best, in best condition. It's really easy to find these toys. It's not so easy to find them in pristine condition, so sometimes their holograms will be a little bit skewed. But he would turn from Native American into an eagle. And then he, of course, had a removable headdress here as well. And then he had a glow-in-the-dark spear and a shield that had an owl face on it. You can see right there. Very good, cool figure. Not a lot of articulation. The legs move up and down, and the arms move, and that's about it. So, there is Eagle Eye. Now let's move to the bad guys. We got Bernhardt here. Bernhardt is a knight that kind of turns into fire. So you can see his face there, and then he turns into kind of like a fire demon. And then he also has a shield with a fire demon on it as well. There you go. So there's Bernhardt. And next you have Scull. Scull is one of my favorites in this line. He kind of goes from a zombie to a skull, like a skeleton. Pretty cool. He has this kind of Morningstar mace type of thing here. And then he had a shield, which was a skeleton. And this hologram is really hard to see, but also skeleton. So there is Scull. And then last but not least, we have Snakebite. And you can imagine, Snakebite turns from a man's face into a snake face. Like that. And then he has his removable chest piece here. There you go. So just like a normal man into a snake, scaly snake monster man. And then he had a really big shield that has a really cool like rattlesnake viper coming out of it. You can see that. So there you go. There's Snakebite. Supernatural toys from Tonka 1987. I don't know if these would sell that great nowadays. Not just for political correctness reasons, because it's kind of dealing with the dead and the underworld, but I don't know how well kids would accept toys that, don't have pieces on them, that just have a picture. But for us in the 80s, they were really, really cool, really innovative. I like these a lot. They're not too hard to pick up. I get a lot of these at conventions. I have more than this just packed away, but you can get them at conventions for a couple bucks here and there. Eagle Eye does not want to stand up anymore. There we go. You can get them out of the package for a few bucks. You can get them in package for, if it's good condition, between 30 and 40. The Ghostlings you can get about $20 in the package, fairly easily. And they're just a lot of fun. The detail that was put on the outer figure is really cool, and then the fact that the front is just flat and has a picture on it is just really, really unique. So I like these toys a lot. They're definitely a staple of 80s toys. So there you go. 1987 Tonka Supernaturals. Hope you enjoyed the review. You can check us out on our website at myafterschooltoys.com, and we've got lots and lots more to come soon, so please subscribe and tell your friends. We're getting close to that 300 mark, and when we reach it, we're going to open up the greatest action figure of all time and review it. So, until next time, as always, long live the 80s.